There. Uh, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Wrestling Prime. I am your host, Tom Dog, and yes, we are here live. And apologies for running a little late. I had to get some stuff loaded up, and I had to use that. So, yeah, nature calls, dude. I'm sorry, but that's okay. We're here. We're live, and we're gonna have some fun here today. Little quick note from what I said I was going to do from this week that I said last week. We'll get into that after we do the shout outs and the plugs and everything. Big shout out to uh Raz and the gang over at Matson Monsters over on the Owlite Network. Check them out; they're awesome. And also a big shout out to my good friend Tails over at Crypto Slam. And so yeah, a lot of fun stuff. So, this episode is brought to you by M&J Video Games and Collectibles. If you happen to be in the Connecticut area and you want to, the Southington, Connecticut, if you happen to be in the Southington, Connecticut area and you want to check out this amazing store, check it out. Um, they have some really cool wrestling stuff, and if you have some wrestling stuff that you want to part with, when anything that's autographed, um, from a wrestler, that who knows, it could be worth something. But you could check it out you can check it out and everything, and you can go over to for more information on directions and list of events that they have going on. Check it out over at mnjvideogames.com. Also, check out W Energy Drink. Um, also sponsored by that. Also sponsored by W Energy. And what is W Energy? It's not this, but it is an energy supplement that has no sugar, no artificial colors or dyes, no artificial colors or dyes, no gimmicky stuff or everything like that. All 100% natural ingredients, and you will not crash. You won't lay down for anybody. You won't you won't get counted out or anything like that. It will just keep you hydrated and energized for the rest of the day, and you'll feel walking out like $1,000,000. And if you go to W Energy right now use that promo code Brill. You could save 10% off of your purchase, and that's my gift from me to you. And you could check it out on their website. Just go to w.gg right now. Use that promo code Brill at the checkout. Save 10% on your purchase, and you will be glad you did. It's an amazing product. I've had it. Um, it's worth the price you pay for, and they'll take good care of you as well too. And but yeah, as I said, no gimmicky stuff or anything like that. All wonderful ingredients that you can get, and it's really really amazing. Check it out for yourself over at w.gg right now. Again, promo code is Brill. Check it out, and you'll save 10% on your purchase. And while you're online shopping, check it out. Go to champsports.com and get your Brody Lee Reebok Classic Leather sneakers. They're still available on their website, and these are amazing sneakers. They really are. They're amazing. Um, you'll definitely love them. And for every purchase, the Huber family will donate 100% of their royalties to the Highmark Caring, and is continuing Mr. Brody Lee's legacy of kindness, compassion, and community. So you be not only walking around in these fantastic looking shoes, but you'll also feel from you'll also be holding out in a really good cause. Now, you're probably wondering why I am not on the you know on the monitor like I originally was going to do. Apparently, what had happened, um, to no fault of my own, and I'm standing by that. Um, I was supposed to review the DLC of the DLC pack of Bray Wyatt, because there was a Bray Wyatt pack that came out, and I follow 2K on their Twitter page, and apparently they failed to mention that it was a paid DLC, and there was a misconception. A lot of people were not. Some people were not aware of it, myself included. Um, and I don't mind that it was a paid DLC, because it is that from what I understand, that it's going to upon purchasing the DLC, it's going to um Bray Wyatt's uh charity. Well, from what I understand, not only do you get the 2023 Bray Wyatt um um skin, or what he was supposed to look like in 2023, but also what he was wearing in 2023. But also there was also an updated Bo Dallas variant of Uncle Howdy, just pretty much changing the skin a little bit, to make it look more like um the um the Bo Dallas version, um with the updated song and everything like that. um Also, too, it was also going to. It also came with a playable elite WWE action figure wrestler, kind of like what they did with Cody Rhodes. Um, you can play as the action figure variant of that, so that's pretty cool. There were some also some some microtransaction coins also, and some those cards for the My Faction that you can unlock as well too. And and of course there was also going to be the Fiend Championship belt as well too. All that is good, and I did see video footage of it. It looks pretty damn good. Nice little tribute to Bray Wyatt. However, what they failed to mention that like I said a few minutes ago, that it was a paid DLC. Now, I don't mind the $10 price tag that comes with it, but the fact that they made that 2K Sports did not make any notification that this was going to be a paid DLC, um, from the tweets, from the posts, and everything like that, and their social media accounts. They did not say nothing about the DLC being a paid DLC. So there's a lot of confusion about that, and if they did, by all means fact check me. I don't have a problem with that. But from from this, because I follow them on Twitter, and I've seen the trailer, of course, because it's all over YouTube and everything like that. But the fact that they didn't that and from what I've seen, there was no mention that this was going to be a paid DLC, and that was a little bit of a disappointment. So because of that, I didn't get a chance to download it. I haven't had an opportunity to save any money because, hey, bills come first and everything like that, and hey, you know, I gotta put food on the table. I'm not married or anything like that, but I still have a family to feed, and priorities are more important. So, but the fact that I'm just a little bit upset. I am going to get the DLC. It's just the fact. It's just a matter of when. But but the fact that they did not give us any notification that this was going to be a paid DLC is a letdown. That's all. That's all. I'm not mad that um because it is, from what I understand, it is going to a good cause, and you know and it's a nice tribute to Bray Wyatt. So I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem that they didn't you know they could have at least said, hey, listen, it's a paid DLC, and it's going to a good cause. You know, at least at least back when I mean, I've had this discussion back when on my Channel X show, when a long time ago, when Saints Row was a thing. Not the remake, but I'm talking about Saints. I believe it was Saints. Yeah, Saints Row 4 when that came out. Um, the fourth installment. Um, I bought the season pass, and but still, you know, I was still paying for the DLC. And I said, What's the point of a DLC? What's the point of And I questioned them, and I asked them that question on Twitter, and they were nice enough to respond. They said, what's the point? What's the point of having a what's the point of paying for the DLC if I have the season pass? What's the whole purpose of that? And I said, oh, it's only exclusive to certain things, but at least you could have at least made that aware. You know, they were being kind of Volition was being kind of shady when it came to that, and yeah, I kind of called them out on it, and so they didn't say nothing about that because I exposed them. So yeah, so hey, they love you. But I will say they, you know, they learned their lesson because when the remake came out, um, the season pass was worth the price. So we all know the same, but the game still sucks. I'm only kidding. No, the new Saints Row game is good. I like it. It's playable. You know, it does feel like a Saints Row game, but it's just going to a new direction, and apparently we knew where that direction was going, and and so I'm not I just think that they could have given us a heads up that that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not, I'm still going to get the DLC. It's just the fact that they could have at least made aware and said, hey, listen, it's gonna it's a paid deal. I'm kind of a stickler for that. You know, just giving us a head up and say, hey, listen, this is not going to be part of the season pass. Just go ahead and you know you the upon purchasing the DLC, that sort of thing. But and for the price, and hey, $10 is not bad. Isn't it's not bad. I mean, it is worth it and everything like that because, like I said, it is going to a good cause. And but there was some issues on day one, which to me I look at it as expected because of the fact that you know the DLC was coming out, and it caught everybody surprised that you had to pay for it, but people still pay for it. But the download was everybody's downloading it at once and going online with it and everything like that. So yeah, there's going to be traffic. So you know, so yeah, so that's why I'm waiting. That's another reason why I'm waiting. I mean, I have the money. I just haven't had a chance to do stuff with it. It's just the fact that you got to go out there and uh, do what you can. But it is what it is. You know. So um, what do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? So yeah. Um, so yeah. When it comes around, we'll get to it eventually. I'll let everybody know though. But that's my take on it and everything. So we'll leave that as it. Okay, so on with the show. Before I talk about the Undertaker, apparently, um, the Undertaker and Kane had Donald Trump on their podcast, which I didn't know the Undertaker and Kane had a podcast. Um, so and I don't know what was said, but some people weren't happy about it, and I said, I just didn't. I chose not to listen to it because I don't want to hear the anguish and everything. I like the Undertaker. I like Kane, and but Kane has been more. Glenn Jacobs. He's been more vocal with his politics, so I kind of steer away from him. However, I don't know how Mark Calloway handles his talk on politics, and I'm trying not to listen, but listen, you know, and same thing with Dave Batista when he was on when he did a video for Jimmy Kimmel and started talking shit about Donald Trump. I mean, listen, it was funny as hell, but listen, you know, I really don't care. I really don't care who supports whom. I really don't. Um, I just don't want it to affect you know, their career. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter. I'm speaking to every celebrity, whether you're a wrestler, whether you're an actor, an actress, or an pro athlete, or even a wrestler. I don't care. Whoever you vote, whoever you endorse, I don't want to hear any more bullshit about it. Just listen. Just if you're going to endorse somebody, just endorse somebody. You don't have to make a song and a dance out of it. With that being said, um, this is not a political show, but wrestlers are involved, and hey, I have to talk about it because this is Wrestling Prime, and you know, unfortunately, Donald Trump is in the WWE Hall of Fame, and there's nothing we can do about that. And the same thing with the Undertaker and Kane; they're in the WWE Hall of Fame, and we'll be talking more about the Hall of Fame later. And but if you endorse, if it doesn't matter. I don't care who you endorse. If that's who you endorse, that's who you endorse. I don't want to hear any more um about. I don't want to hear any more about it. Just like who you like and leave us alone and leave us out of it. We don't want to hear all of this person's. You know we don't want to hear. You know I don't want to hear anybody cut a promo. Um, though Dave Batista bit was funny, I will admit to that. Um, I'm speaking for everybody, so I'm not picking sides. Just don't leave a. Just stop with the promos. Hulk Hogan guilty of it. Um, Undertaker, Kane. I guess they said something that got people talking, and I saw the little clip that they did on their TikTok that was trending on Twitter, and then you have Dave Batista cutting his little promo on Donald Trump, but still, um, I mean, yeah, on Donald Trump. But listen, bottom line, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because it's just like just support who you are. You don't have to be drama about it. Hey, you young people out there, just get out there. Get out there, register to vote if you haven't already. Do so, and make a stand and vote for who you want to vote for. Don't be pressured on telling and don't be pressured by anybody telling you who you should vote for. You have the right to. They don't give you. They don't. They should. Nobody else should give you that right to. Nobody should say, "Hey, go vote for Kamala Harris," or "Hey, you have to vote for Donald Trump." No, you don't do that. That's not how society works. Listen to both sides, and you make the choice to do for it. That's it. End of story. I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. And of course, you know, coming from the past history of cutting promos on Donald Trump in the past, everybody's probably going to figure it out who I'm going to vote for. But then again, maybe I might surprise you, and maybe I might go to Donald Trump. But you're never going to know because I'm never going to say nothing. So because technically it's nobody's business who I vote. But PSA over. Just vote for who you think, and I don't want to hear who you endorse because I'm never going to tell you who I am. Just say. And now that I bored everybody with my little rap, uh, I think it's time for me to continue on with the show. And so yeah, so the Mr. McMahon, I'm like two more episodes left to go. I just finished episode 4 earlier today, and it picked off where it left off from episode 3, which was the getting ready for the name of the episode was Attitude, and this is basically the events leading up to what happened after the Montreal screw job. And so because of all that, everything was being um, the puzzles were fitting nicely, and um, along comes Stone Cold Steve Austin, and how Stone Cold Steve Austin and his rivalry with Mr. McMahon became one of the most talked about um, feuds in wrestling history, and it was the best wrestling storylines in that era. Um, the Attitude Era, um, the Mr. McMahon character, not Mr. McMahon in real life, but Mr. McMahon had to talk about, was basically was slowly becoming a heel, becoming the most hated figure in wrestling, and and Eric Bischoff was also on there. He mentioned how you know he technically did it first, which is true. He did, and in but praised Vince for doing it better. And so yeah, it was really interesting. There is one piece of information um, that they did leave out, and that was, of course, Stone Cold. When they were talking about the arrival of Stone Cold Steve Austin and how he came in from WCW um, after being fired from WCW via FedEx. That was one thing they forgot to mention, um, which is probably not which would probably be not important to the story, but also his time in Extreme Championship Wrestling before coming into the WWE. There was one thing that they forgot to mention uh, during his time in the WWE, and that was when before the early stages of the Attitude Era was slowly coming around. Um, they forgot to mention the part where Austin broke his neck. Um, when he took a pile driver from Owen Hart at SummerSlam. However, if you watch my SummerSlam 90 97 review, I think it was 90. Yeah, it was 97. It was the 97 SummerSlam, where on my birthday, I saw Stone Cold Steve Austin win the Intercontinental Championship, and however, came with a price. He broke his neck and had to relinquish it. And yeah, that was one part that they missed off. But there was snippets of him um, getting hauled off by police because he told he told he gave Vince McMahon a Stone Cold Stunner, and that's pretty much how the um, the Austin McMahon storyline began. The moment Austin broke his neck, and that should have been pretty That was supposed to be a key part in that storyline, and apparently that did not happen. So yeah, so that's what happened, and yeah, that's. But yeah, other than that, they were talking about how edgy they were becoming, how DX, how Shawn Michaels, pretty much kind of opened up a Pandora's box for the Attitude Era to start because, and it all started with um some gauze that he stuck in his pants and came out with it just wearing these really short bicycle shorts with the short and tight bicycle short and a bunch of gauze down the front of his pants, so it looked like he had a huge bulge. And so yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fun. But that was pretty much the whole start of it and everything, the birth of the Generation X, and Vince McMahon coming out about how we at the World Run, you the WWE fans feel like your intelligence has been insulted. You know, so he brought that's when Vince brought out the Attitude Era, and everything is going to be more edgier and everything like that. Um, it was a gamble for Vince to make that direction because you have to deal with network executives through USA, and there are certain boundaries you couldn't cross, but um, the mid to late '90s, it was getting more and more edgier, getting more um, um, how do I say edgy with stuff that's coming out on television lately. With um, some more adult oriented cartoons. From shows catering towards and animated shows that was catering towards adults rather than the young demographic. Um, WWE is supposed to be like this family friendly show, but with the direction that they went, um, kids imitating what they see on television, you know, and yeah, it was. I gotta tell you a story because of this, and I experienced this when I was working at McDonald's, and yes, I did work at McDonald's. So, you Trump supporters out there, you don't need to tell Donald Trump about that. But I have people that can vouch for me too. But I went one night I was waiting for my ride, and this um it was getting late. This was back when they were slowly going into 24 hours and everything. Um, when that was slowly becoming this was before um the 24-hour um McDonald's came around. They were just closing a little bit later and everything like that, so the lobby stayed open a little bit more. But I was leaving early, because my shift was over at a certain time, and this woman comes in. I would say like around 8 or 9 o'clock, around the 9 o'clock hour. This woman comes in ordering her food, and there was this kid that came in. Actually, no, it wasn't around that. It was around. Anywho, anyways, this lady was taking an order. It looked like she was, just coming back from the bar or whatever, or getting ready to go out to the bar or whatever. Anyways, she was all decked out nice and everything. All of a sudden, this kid comes, shows up from out of nowhere, grabs her, grabs her ass, and the kid crotch chops and says, "Suck it," and everything like that. You know, it doesn't matter what matters, like, know your role and everything, and he just ran off. And me and my colleague looked at that, and I'm like, "Did that just happen?" And I said, "Yeah, that just happened." And it disturbed me. It actually disturbed me because, I never would have thought that would happen in a million years, but sure enough, it happened, and yeah, and so, yeah, I have to agree about what they were saying about that, about, about how kids were imitating that. Yeah. So yeah, there were some good moments and everything. And first time I heard Trish Stratus uh drop an F bomb. So, yeah. Um and she was saying how some of the women were there, not really as wrestler, not really wrestling, but just basically there for eye candy, which also that's also true. And so yeah, this was, it was, the mid to late '90s. It was a thing. The Attitude Era came in, and I pretty that's when wrestling prime started becoming a thing. Um, in 1996. So I came my this show here came right at the right time for um that. It came at the right time, and I was thrilled. I was literally thrilled that it was a thing that I did. And so yeah, this was a pretty good show. And I'm actually, this was um a moment in history. And then of course, then near the end of the show they talked about Owen Hart. Um they talked about how Owen was going to be you know was wondering, whether or not he was going to stay with the company after Brett left. But Owen Hart said that he was still going to stay here in the WWE and everything like that. And Vince was putting him in spots where um they were you know they were making fun of him, where they brought this kid in to make fun of him and everything, and and do this stuff and everything. I mean, but technically, it was funny, but at the same time, it's just that that Owen had a good sense of humor and everything like that. So yeah, it was pretty good. And but then they brought up the event that took place on in May of 1999 over the Edge. It was a pay-per-view in which Owen Hart passed away. Everybody remembers what happened, and everybody doesn't forget about what happened too. Um, I saw the pay-per-view, and I was not too happy because um, the show continued after Owen had fallen to his death, and he actually died right there in the ring. Um, because there was a fault. The equipment was faulty. Um, but they have forgotten to mention that Vince McMahon tried it himself before they went live, and to Vince McMahon's knowledge, it was, everything was working fine, and everything was all set and ready to go. Something must have happened between then and the live event, because he Owen came down in the superhero like fashion and, you know fell into his death. And Owen's widow, Martha, she um she filed a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, and settled did settle. Vince gave her money um for the damages and everything like that. And then also, Vince McMahon sued the company that was responsible for the harness for Owen Hart and everything. And that company went out of business as a result of that, because of what happened. And yeah, that is what happened. Um, Martha still um, blames Vince for the whole thing, and a lot of people else feel too, because the show should have ended right then and there. But Vince, um, there was a lot of money invested in this pay per view, and I'm sure nobody would have a problem of canceling the show early because of this, um, that sort of thing. But to me, to me as a fan, I would not have a problem if they ended the show early and either give a refund or reschedule at a later date, because there was an incident um, prior to this, that um, there was a power outage and everything like that, and um, the production was shown in complete darkness, so they had to scrap that pay per view and redo the pay per view. They gave everybody refunds, and those who paid for the pay per view uh, gave them refunds, and they showed it for free. Um, those who were live at the event, they said, hang on to your ticket stubs, because you're gonna come back, and we're gonna you'll be able to cast the show again at another time. So they took care of that. Everything was fine and everything. So why couldn't they just do it that way? Um, because a wrestler died, and coming from that pay per view, I could remember the blood that was still on the ring, and that blood was from Owen when he hit the canvas. And so there's like remnants of Owen Hart in that ring with the blood and everything. And it was it was hor I just couldn't. I wanted to watch the pay per view, but I just couldn't watch it. It was depressing, because Owen Hart was one of my favorite wrestlers, and there was no need for Owen Hart to go into that superhero pose, and I said this back then too, um, because it did bother me then, and it still bothers me now that what Vince McMahon put him through, um, couldn't be forgiven. Now, a lot of people think that he should be in in Hall of Fame, which he does. He does, but the only thing that's keeping him away from the Hall of Fame is, of course, um, his widow, Martha, and um, she wants nothing to do with the WWE. She wants nothing to do with Vince McMahon. Um, it's one of those things, and I tend to agree, and you know, it was, but it was. I am glad that Vince, um, you know, you know, took care of the problem. However, at the same time, I'm disappointed that he still went on with the show because it was really hard. It was really hard to go. And I could tell from the wrestlers that they had a really hard time focusing because one of their brothers, you know, died right there in front of everybody. Um, there was some dark lighting and everything like that too, where some people would have a hard time, where some people um had a hard time seeing what had happened. However, if you're in the front, if you're in the front row and everything, there's no way you cannot miss that. And it it was horrible, a real tragedy. And I still think about that day when it happened. And you know, I kind of we all miss Owen Hart, and we still keep him in our prayer, and then keep him in we still keep him in our hearts forever because he was one of the all-time greats. And and as a wrestling fan, I did not want to. There was no need for Owen Hart. He was being the Blue Blazer. He did not need to go into that superhero fashion. I mean, there were times where Owen would come out to the ring doing his little thing like that, and that was fine. Why couldn't you just keep it like that? No, it was a pay per view. Got to do it more spectacular. I said, just have him come down to the Raptors, and they've seen it. He did it one. Owen did it once before, and even then, it was iffy. I was kind of leery about it as well too as a wrestling fan, but it did not need did not need to do that. And yeah, but this, Owen's death, and Brett was pissed off at Vince because of what happened, and I don't blame him. I really don't blame him at all because that that's what happened. So yeah. Um, and then um, so next episode we're going to be talking about um the downfall of World Championship Wrestling and how Vince bought WCW. So yeah, that is the next episode for that. However, as far as tonight's episode, we got some more show to do because we got a couple more things to talk about, and then I can go to bed. So AEW. So let's get into some AEW news before we go right back into WWE news, and that is the AEW Collision tonight. They had a 3-hour event. They had the 2-hour Collision, and then the hour um, um, Battle of the Belts 12. from what I understand. And so yeah, the card goes as follows: Ricochet versus AR Fox, Kyle Fletcher versus Atlantis Jr., the Outrunners versus LFI, Orange Cassidy versus Bulk Bronson, Premier Athletes versus Private Party and Daniel Garcia, um, Harley Cameron versus Chris Statlander, the BCC versus Top Flight and Action Andretti, Mariah May versus Anna Jay, Okada versus Kyle O'Reilly, and Jamie Hayter versus the House of Black were in action. So, um, they were both Jamie Hayter and the House of Black were fighting talent enhancers. So that was an obvious win. So we won't be grading those. However, Ricochet versus AR Fox opened up the show after a promo from Jon Moxley. Um, Ricochet um, defeated Fox. Um, Chris Statlander uh, defeated Harley Cameron. Um, Daniel Garcia and Private Party defeated the Premier Athletes. Um, Orange Cassidy defeated Bulk Bronson, which was a 20-second squash match. Um, and then Jamie Hayter, um, like I said, won their match. Um, I won't count that. Kyle Fletcher defeated Atlantis Jr. Um, House of Black won, of course. Um, LFI defeated the Outrunners. Hmm. Um, the Blackpool Combat Club defeated Top Flight and Andretti. And Moxley told the ref after that match, Moxley told the ref to get back in the ring because BCC was going to defend the trios titles again against Dark Order, and the BCC defeated the Dark Order. Um, then the Battle of the Belts came on, and Okada defended the Continental Championship against Kyle O'Reilly, and Okada retained the belt. Good match there. Brian Cage and Lance Archer were in action. They also fought a talent enhancer. Mariah May versus Anna Jay. Um, Cage and Archer won that squash match, and so yeah, and the AEW Women's Championship Eliminator match. Um, Mariah May. Um, oh, Anna Jay defeated Mariah May. Um, and she has now earned a title shot on Dynamite in 2 weeks on uh, um, Fright Night Dynamite. Yeah, that is a match confirmed. Um, and yeah, that and match goes fade to black. Okay, so let me. Okay, almost hit the wrong button. Okay, so now we have one more piece of material to talk about before we call it a night, and that is the WWE Hall of Fame. Why am I talking about this now? There has been no names mentioned about um the Hall of Fame. We won't know until uh, after Royal Rumble. However, there was a discussion on a wrestling. Oh boy, I am tired, folks. I really am. And it's like I can't. I had a busy day today. Really busy day. But anyways, I'm sucking it up. Doing this. I got one more thing to talk about before we're calling the night, and that is about the Hall of Fame. As I said, you know. So why am I talking about this now when there's no name mentioned for next year's Hall of Fame? Well, a discussion was made, and I chimed in my 2 cents, and I'll share with everybody here tonight. Um, that there was a debate going on. Should should the Hall of Fame um, be be counted as a should people be should go into the next inductees should they of the Hall of Fame moving forward should they go into a vote, like for example, do you think that who do you want to be the main guy, the top guy to go into the Hall of Fame? It's like, oh, you had The Rock, John Cena, um CM Punk, that's that sort of thing. And you just you check it off, and then you vote for that, or you just write in the name or insert name here, or even Triple H for that matter, or even David Batista. Um, so those names, so they think, they were wondering if should the WWE Hall of Fame go into some sort of voting scenario, because in some situations there's already stuff doing that on other sports teams. I don't know how significantly accurate that is, um, but one of the thing, but for me personally, um, putting them into it, if you have like a voting committee, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem if you're gonna, but it has to be a committee of people um who who have been fans of of WWE for a really long time. I am using myself as an example because when when I was a toddler, was when I first saw wrestling. One of the first wrestlers I've seen was, of course, um, Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, when he came into the company as a heel. Um, I also remember Bruno Sammartino, Pat Patterson, uh, Haystacks Calhoun, um, Tony Atlas. The list goes on and on. This was coming from at a time where you know I was a young kid and everything like that. So a lot of these guys, like Superstar Billy Graham also comes to mind. Jesse Ventura before he got hurt and got into commentary, and the list goes on and on. Even Randy Savage when he just started out. You know, uh, and yeah, I've been a wrestling fan all my life, pretty much, and yeah, so it shows. I was a wrestling fan before WrestleMania ever existed. That's how far back I'm going. And yeah, even going far as back as when Vince McMahon Senior was running the show, and yeah, this was a thing. I vaguely remember NWA, um, so I don't really know anybody from that era that I was watching. I was more of a WWE guy at that time, and I still am today. But today's wrestling fans are not knowledgeable. I hate to break it to I don't mean to knock down today's wrestling fans because you know they love their wrestlers, but if you ask a random wrestling fan of today, we're talking about like in the teens, you ask them who your favorite wrestler. Of course, they're going to say somebody from someone uh from this time. And if you bring up a name, let's say Iron Sheik, they probably won't know who that is. You say superstar Billy Graham, they won't know who that is. Um, George the Animal Steel, you don't know who that is. Um, they won't know who that is. Also, too, they won't know who Bruno Sammartino is. And some of today's generation, when they watch these Hall of Fames, they tend to get bored because they don't know. They pretty much have a history. Um, that's However, if you know the Samoan Anawai family, um, obviously, you're not going to forget. You're not. I mean, at least you're not going to forget them because because you had the bloodline and everything like that, and you know that tradition is still um, the Samoa wrestling dynasty is still strong even today. Um, you're not. Everybody knows who Dusty is because they give Dusty that praise because he is pretty much you know I guess you could say I pretty much refer to him as the Godfather of wrestling, which is true because you can't everybody talks about Dusty even with Cody Rhodes and everything like that, but you have Dusty who would pretty much um pretty much did a lot for the wrestling business. Even guys like Ric Flair. But if you were to give them a name that they never heard of, There's no way they can, you know, be a fan. So, like I said, I don't mean to, like I said, I don't mean to knock down. It's just that, they need to have more of a history of the wrestling. Then if they had more knowledge of the wrestling that, even way before the time that I grew up watching wrestling, we're talking about the golden age of wrestling. You had like um your um Gary Graham or whatever. Back when Jerry Lawler was a household name. Back when the Von Erichs was a big deal back in that day. The Freebirds, um, Bobo Brazil, you know, those names. A lot of them don't even know who they are. It's sad, but now, and I kind of wish they would have that knowledge. But if you really want to have that knowledge of you gotta go with the history and everything. That's why when you say, that's why with today's generation, you say a name, they say, "Oh yeah, that person should be in the Hall of Fame." And then you look at that and you say, you know, but then again, you got that young person out there that still wants Chris Benoit to go in there, and that asshole's never going to go in. I'm sorry to say that, but you know, you're not going. No one's going to put in a wrestler who who committed double murder and a suicide due to roid rape, because that's what happened. Nobody, he, you know, you can't. However, I said, but his career inside the ring, his career inside the ring, um, is one of the best, and he could be up there in the top 10. However, he's not on any list now because of the reputation, because of the tragedy outside the ring. And apparently, that's going to be the last episode of Mr. McMahon, and we're going to get into that um, when it comes in, because I know we're going to be talking about that. That's going to be a huge show. But but the fact that what he did, he's never going to be in the Hall of Fame. Owen Hart, like I said earlier, definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but we understand why he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, because um, his wife, his widow, has wants nothing to do with WWE, which is understandable. I mean, his husband died in that ring, like I just said earlier, and I get it. I understand that. However, at the same time, at the same time, you have to really look at, you know, that we want to honor the legacy of your late husband. He's done a lot for the business, and whenever Bret Hart um is putting a family member in the WWE Hall of Fame, he cannot can't stop telling about talking about Owen, and Bret wants him to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure that there's a way for Owen, you know, to be in the Hall of Fame, even if it's not just him, even if it's not him by himself, which goes to goes the question that a lot of guys would definitely put him in there. Brett being one of them, Jeff Jarrett being another. It's just that if you put the whole, the Hart family, the Hart Foundation, um, stable during the Attitude Era, then yeah, Owen's going to be in that Hall of Fame. Will be in that Hall of Fame. That would be like the only time that he would be in that Hall of Fame. But as far as a solo group, no. As far as tag teaming with um, Jim Neidhart, no. Um, because the new foundation wasn't really over as a tag team. Same thing with his tag teaming with Coco Beware and High Energy. That's not going to happen either. So it's one of those things that the only time that Owen Hart would be in the Hall of Fame is if he's in a stable um, with the Hart Foundation stable. That's it. Because you have Brett, Owen, Jim Neidhart, Davey Boy Smith, and you have Brian Pillman, who's another person who definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Another guy. Nobody really knows who he is either. The younger generation does not. So, but if like I said, if you put the voting into the hands of diehard wrestling fans who has a history of the business inside and out, um, you know, can't stop talking about it. Do a show on a weekly basis talking about wrestling, um, having a nice um, conversation in the chat, even though there's nobody on right now because of how late I went on the show, which is understandable. It will pick up after I turn off the camera. So it's no big deal. I'm not faulting anybody because I'm only faulting myself because of how late I went on the air. So, but yeah, this is one of those things. So yeah, I'm not really criticizing the fans of today. I just want them to be more knowledgeable of the people who paved the way for your favorite wrestlers to exist. All I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because without Roman Reigns, there wouldn't be, if it wasn't for Dwayne Johnson, there wouldn't be a Roman Reigns. Just saying. If it wasn't for Dusty Rhodes, there wouldn't be a Cody Rhodes. If there wasn't a um, Stone Cold Steve Austin, there wouldn't be a CM Punk. If and it goes on and on, and the legacy goes on and on and on. You know, and yeah, if there wasn't an Undertaker, there would not have been a Bray Wyatt. So, who do I think should be in the Hall of Fame next year? For number one, Bray Wyatt, obviously, obvious pick. Um, Sid Justice, definitely in the Hall of Fame. Vader should be in the Hall of Fame. Um, Virgil, he passed away not too long ago. Um, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, a lot of these guys have passed on. Can't really talk. I get it and I understand. But um, Big Show, definitely in the Hall of Fame. Paul White, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Um, Ted Turner, it's a controversial decision because he he even though he doesn't have a good relationship with Vince McMahon, um, and a lot of people would say that. But if you can have Eric Bischoff into the WWE Hall of Fame, why not? I mean, and if you have Vern Gagne in the Hall of Fame, um, Paul Heyman is another one. I know he's contracted in WWE, but still. And then you have um, uh, Gary Hart, who was also a wrestling promoter. Nobody really knows who he is, and no relation to Jimmy Hart or the Hart family. No relation. So yeah, it is a really big deal, you know. And Antonio Inoki, he's a wrestling promoter. He was a wrestling promoter from New Japan. He's in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, a lot of. Why not another wrestling promoter? Ted Turner. He gave out world championship wrestling. So yeah, hell, even I think Jim Crockett is in there. I think, but no, but also Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And more importantly, out of all the names I mentioned, there is one other person that definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and that is Barry Horowitz. Barry Horowitz definitely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. He does. I met him. I met him a few years ago. One of the nicest guys. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. And you know, he was a talent. He was a talent enhancer, and he got over in the '90s by becoming Intercontinental Champion. Had a nice run, and and, and he deserves a pat in the back. And strangely enough, good story too. Um, I actually got a phone call from him because I gave him one of my business cards when I met him at M&J Video Games and Collectibles when they were doing a meet and greet. I met him and I gave him my card and then this is what I do. I gotta have him on the show one of these days. He'll come on. And he we had an hour conversation. Never would have expected him to call me. Never would have. And I was surprised. I was surprised. And yeah, we had a nice conversation. We had a very nice conversation. This was back in 2021. And I was a little bit down and everything like that because I just gotten over COVID and I was having some health problems as well too and everything. And I guess I was down in the dumps and I guess somehow I think one of my buddies um caught wind of that because of how down I was and yeah, I got this phone call from Barry and we had a nice wonderful conversation for a whole hour. And it was a nice feeling. It really was. It was a really nice feeling. And And yeah, um, if anybody deserve, I honestly never expected him to do that. He didn't have to do that, and but he did, and he is one of the most nicest guys that you could ever meet. And when I saw him, when I talked to him and everything, it was a really cool thing, and I like that very much. And so yeah, if anybody deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, it's definitely Barry. And you know, and yeah, so yeah, he's my pick for the Hall of Fame. And a lot of people will won't like that. It's like, oh, he's a jobber and everything. First of all, he's not a jobber. Okay, he was a talent enhancer at the time. Okay, and calling somebody a jobber is actually an insult to the business. So, and that's what Dustin Runnels was talking about all this time, um, not too long ago. And yeah, talent enhancer is the proper term to call to refer to a wrestler who always um, who's not a main guy. That's why when I was saying that Jamie Hayter was fighting a talent enhancer, that's what I was talking about. So yeah, it's not a jobber. It's called talent enhancer. So I want to clarify that thing. It's a it's the term jobber or jabroni is basically an insult to a wrestler. So it's basically it's considered a racial slur towards the wrestler. Yeah. However, if I'm referring to Logan Paul as a jobber, then then so be it. Because because Logan Paul is the true jobber of wrestling. Oh, not to mention, Logan Paul is also a paper champion. That's why at SummerSlam, when he lost the belt to LA Knight, that was the best match in my book. So yeah, happy birthday to me. Yeah. So yeah, but definitely, Barry Horowitz definitely is my pick for the 2025 Hall of Fame. And and yeah, and if you need somebody, hey, listen, if you ever need and Barry, this goes out to you. If you ever need someone to induct you into the Hall of Fame, I'm your guy. I am your guy. I will be more than happy to induct you in because you deserve it, my friend. You deserve it. So okay, I'm looking at the time here and way past my bedtime. So yeah, I am tired, and for some odd reason my wrist is hurting, and I wasn't holding anything. Not that, you sickos! How dare you? This is a family show. So I did cuss like silly earlier. But anyways, but yeah, um, but no, my wrist is hurting me, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. The only thing I was holding was my remote control because I was watching some videos and stuff on YouTube, and I was playing a few video games as well too. And and yeah, this was a thing. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm getting tired because I don't know what the hell I'm saying anymore. So you can tell because I'm just rambling on. I was born a rambling man. Anywho, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. Um, Shame I didn't have anybody to chat with tonight in the chat board. That's okay. It's late, and I'm pretty sure it's late, especially in their neck of the woods. So hey, you know, I'm okay. You don't have to don't have to come on here if you don't want to. You know, just know that as soon as the camera goes off, you can watch it at your time, not mine. But nonetheless, I do thank you for tuning in tonight. I do appreciate it. If you are watching, whether it's live or at your convenience, I'm still happy that you were able to watch the show because that's a win in my book. Whether it's live or taped, I am glad that you're watching. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at TomDog247. If you did miss tonight's episode, you can check it out as soon as I turn off the camera. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below. Who do you think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Let us know in the comment section down below. Ring the bell to stay notified on what I'm going to be doing next. And support small streamers like myself by doing the most important thing that you can do for us small streamers like myself, and that is lay the smackdown on that subscribe button. We will see you here next week. On time probably. I hope. With another episode of Wrestling Crime. This coming Thursday, we have a we're part 4 of our Ghostbusters month on Channel X. So we're going to be I'm going to be reviewing Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. And so yeah, Ghostbusters month is almost over. So so yeah. Um Yeah, I hope you're tuning in because we're having a lot of fun with that. We really are, and the response that I'm getting has been really, really good. I'm planning on doing another one for doing something similar for next year. Maybe Alien. I don't know. Haven't debated, but you haven't heard that from me. Um, we will see. We will see. But anyways, yeah, we got some good topics to talk about next week. With some wrestling topics, and who knows, maybe I'll do a Q&A for you guys as well too. So yeah, um, really looking forward to that, and we will see you. And then till next time, this is Tom Dog saying, take care. So long, peace. See you next time, everybody. Have a good night. Love you all. Oh, hold on. Yeah, have a good night, everybody. See you next time.